Hi everyone, and welcome to another reading vlog. Today is Monday, and yes, I'm filming in my car because I have two back-to-back events to go to, and this is the only time that I have to film right now is while my car is warming up. So pardon the sound of the heater and my little bit of shaky hands. I'll set it down here because it's winter, okay? If you haven't noticed from my last couple vlogs, it's winter. So, reading what's happening this week. Okay, so I'm not really feeling most of the books I'm reading right now, which is really sad because they're all by authors that I love. Like, I'm still working on Outlander, still working on King of Scars, still working on Night of Flame. And I also started Fellowship of the Ring, which that one's going to take me the whole month, so that's not a big deal. And then I started The Name of the Wind for Murphy's Book Club, which that one is good so far, but that's the one I just started. And usually what happens with Murphy's Book Club is I either don't really like the book, so I have to make myself read it every day, or I really love it and I read the whole thing in a week, and then I have to wait for everyone to catch up to me. So with this one, I really like it, but I'm having a good time just like reading the 3 or 4 chapters I'm supposed to read every day. So I'm gonna keep going with that. What the plans are for this week for sure is Kill Switch came out the other day, which is the 3rd book in the Devil's Night quartet by Penelope Douglas. So one of the days this week I'm gonna read that. And I also want to read Redeeming Love this week, which is a book I picked for Valentine's Day. Here's the thing though, why it's a good thing that I only have to read a few chapters of Name of the Wind, because like I said, tonight I have 2 events. I have one of my best friend's birthdays and then a movie night at someone else's house. Tomorrow, right after work, I'm meeting someone for coffee to discuss some things, and then right after that, we're going to see the Lego Movie 2. Then on Wednesday, I babysit for my friend. Thursday, I have small group. And Friday, I'm headed out of town for President's Weekend. I'm going home to Pillager. So, what that means is the only real reading time I have is either late at night, which isn't a problem, but I'm usually not a read before bed person anymore. I usually am watching something to just let my brain dissolve. So I don't know what this looks like. I mean, sometimes I get a kick in the butt and I'll just stay up all night and read something, and other times nothing gets read. So we'll see. I'm like I said, I'm working on Lord of the Rings, but I'll probably pick up another audiobook to listen to on my way home to Pillager. So maybe I'll pick one of my TBR to do that with. The thing is that I don't have too many books left on my TBR that I haven't already started. I think there's a couple on there. So maybe I'll pick one of my TBR and start listening to that. But yeah, so that's what the start of the week is looking like. It's going to be a very busy week. All good things, but that's what we're looking at. So we'll see. I always read something. I mean, I'm not one of those people that, like, since I've been on BookTube, there hasn't been a week that I haven't read a book. So, anyway, we shall see, but just wanted to start you out with a week, and this will either be another clip of something fun I did, or you'll see what happened this week. I'll catch you later. Bye. It is Saturday, and I am home in Pillager. I'm just running to go over to my uncle's house. My sister is there with my nieces, and I'm going to give my niece her birthday present, and I'm going to be getting a Christmas present from my aunt, which I'm really excited about, and I'm going to film for you because it's nerdy and I'm super excited. I don't have a lot for books to say. I will do a wrap up at the end, but I just want to be honest about it right now. Like, I'm kind of in a slump this week. I'm not too worried because for February, I've already read like 13 books. So even if I slump for the next half, I still feel good. But yeah, just haven't been in the most ready mood. I did get to ride back to Pillager with my friend, and we started listening to Illuminate, because I think my reading group was going to do a reread, but also I really wanted my friend to listen to this book, and she would really only do it with me because I make her listen to it. So it was so fun to get started again. I love Illuminate. I love the audio. I think it is fantastic. So that's all really fun stuff. So whatever. You guys love me anyway. So I will cue footage of having a great day with my sister.
If I open it and then you'll get it.
Yeah, she gave me that coat.
Oh, okay. Pillow.
Oh, yay.
I went to one spot
Children's stuff. Oh my gosh. Yes.
Oh, it is a pillow.
Inigo
Montoya, you killed my father, prepare to die.
And then it's all the it's the words of Princess Bride.
Let's see.
So, well, you probably won't be able to read it.
I'd like to see the front.
Hi, everyone. Well, I am a lying liar who lies because I barely took any footage yesterday, just of me getting my Christmas present finally from my aunt. And then me and my sister were shopping and having fun, and I'm just still not someone who remembers to take out my camera and record things when we're like in the middle of stuff. Just not something that I like do yet. But I thought I would still like wrap up kind of what my reading looked like this week, and I know next week will be better. This week I did a good amount of reading. I just didn't finish books, but I'm in the middle of a bunch and I got reading done. It just doesn't feel as accomplished when you haven't like finished anything, but whatever. That's not what this is about. Let's start this. Ooh. Hold it. So, couple things on my Kindle is I am reading Kill Switch by Penelope Douglas, which is the third book in her Devil's Night. It's supposed to be 4 books. This one is about Damon, who has hereto been basically like the villain of the series. So it's really weird to try and like him at this point. Just being honest about that. It's been kind of hard. I'm reading this with my friend Shauna. We just kind of ended up reading it at the same time, and she is an even faster reader than me, and she's having trouble with it too. So it's also like, this series is really dark, and it's kind of my like one really dark romance that I like keep reading, and I don't know, it's almost too dark for me, and I'll go more into that like in a review of it, because next week I'm going to put up my romance review, because I read like 13 romances this month, and I'm going to do a separate wrap up for those compared to my other ones. And I don't know, I'm just not feeling it. The other thing I'm reading on Kindle, and I have the physical book too, is still Night of Flame. I wish it wasn't taking me so long, but I'm past the 50% mark of it, and it's really like starting to roll downhill for what the final like confrontation is going to be. So I'm going to work on finishing that tonight or tomorrow when I get back to Fargo, because I have the day off tomorrow, and we're heading back at about noon. So I'll have most of the day to read, and I really want to dive into that. Next, through this week, I've been reading Name of the Wind for my buddy reading group with Murphy. I am 170 pages into it. I'm 3 days behind in our reading, so I also need to catch up on that. Because, man, each day they're reading 5 chapters, and when you miss a day, you just get behind really quickly. But I am enjoying it. So this series, I believe it's supposed to be a trilogy. Only the 2 books are out. And it's a very interesting format. So the main character, his name is Kvoth, I think is how it's said. They like say his name in their pronunciation, so you know. And he is this person who supposedly lived this really fantastical life, and they call him the king killer and wizard and like all these crazy names. And there's this person called the chronicler who tells people stories. And so he tracks down Kvothe and wants to hear his story. And Kvothe tells him that he will tell him his story in 3 days. And the chronicler is like, it usually doesn't take me 3 days to get someone's story. And Kvothe gives him some rules and says, you will write down everything that I say. You won't elaborate on anything or make anything up. And you'll sit through this with me for 3 days if you want to hear my story. And so there's kind of this like dual thing going on. So Kvothe is telling his assistant Bastian and the chronicler about his life. And then they'll like have these interludes where they stop and it's the present time and they're like talking about what they went through and everything. So it is a very, right now, like slow paced because we're still in his like childhood. But I'm very intrigued because like this whole book is considered day 1. Name of the Wind is day 1. And like the next one, The Wise Man's Fear, is called day 2. So it's like the story that he's telling, they're going to tell you everything he tells them in 1 day. And then even though like they're telling you more than 1 day's worth of stuff. I know that doesn't make sense, but it will if you have read it. And I'm really liking it. My buddy reading group is really liking it too. Kvothe is such an interesting person. Like, you just are rooting for him the whole time. And it's like, you know, he lives through everything because he's telling the story, but you don't know which of his friends or people make it through because he's living alone at this time that he's telling the story. So there's kind of like high stakes at the same time because you're like, oh my gosh, what happened to these people? So anyway, that is the major things I'm reading right now. And, you know, the other things on my Goodreads, you'll see I'm in the middle of some other things, and I really want to, like, clean that up because I hate having so many books open at once. But whatever, it's fine. I'm also getting tired of some of the other books on my TBR, so I'm probably going to, like, either postpone them or just read whatever I want for the rest of the month. Because last month I did really good and read everything on my TBR, and this month I didn't feel like it. And that's totally fine. That's usually how it goes for me. I make a TBR and then I don't read them. But anyway, so sorry this video is all over the place. And if you're still stuck through, I love you. You're amazing. I'm so happy for all of you as always, to have you in my life and to message with you and whatever. So I will see you in the next video. I make new things every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye.